Good evening, everybody. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world. And tonight's hot mess are the New York City mayoral elections. I got up early today and I voted in my state of New Jersey early as possible because I just did not want to miss my opportunity to vote on November 4th. Now, I voted Republican across the board. I will never vote for another Democrat for the rest of my life. I just will not. And I want to come on here and talk about the New York City mayoral election because it's Cuomo, Mandami, and Sliwa. And obviously you can tell what my opinion is going to be probably if you watch me at all or you just have any common sense or discernment that you know, I feel bad for New York City because I'm from Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia on the suburbs. And I've been in New York longer than even my home state. I love New York and I really consider New York my home for the past like 30 years. Since COVID and all the wild democratic policies and, for vaccines and just politically, it was just too woke for me. So I ended up leaving. But I love New York and I still work there and I still have like everybody I love is in New York. I really don't know many people in New Jersey. And I do not want to see them make this huge mistake. And I do not want to see, New York City fail like it's going to if Mandami gets elected. I mean, I think it's going to be a failure if they have Cuomo too, but really a failure with Mandami. So before we get into all of this, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I will really appreciate it. Please just click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, share the videos, anything you can do to help a sister out with the YouTube algorithm. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so let's get into this because as always, it's a lot to unpack and I like to put all the information in one place. So I do live streams and then I'll break them up into shorter reels and make them shareable, on other social media sites and stuff like that. So let's just get into watching this now because I want to get through this as quick as possible because this, I just can't even believe that, liberals are this dumb as to vote for somebody like Mandami. I just don't see how they don't see the bullshit. But they don't, they're very easily, propagandized into anything. And it's horrifying that they would pick somebody like this because he's just a plant. Somebody just popped up out of nowhere that really is. Listen, let's just watch the video. Let's just watch the video because this is too much.
I will ask the public safety question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Sliwa. The issues of crime and disorder on the streets. The NYPD says the crime is going down in all major categories, most major categories, but to New Yorkers, they're still concerned with disorder and their own unique perception of crime. Do you think addressing quality of life concerns helps prevent more serious crimes? And how would you deploy the city's police force to deal with those serious violent crimes and also quality of life offenses like disorderly conduct and retail theft? Mr. Sliwa.
First off, I've been in all 350 neighborhoods. I'm the only candidate that's on the subway each and every day. I've yet
now that's the one thing I have to say
New Yorker who
about
said they feel safer either in the subways or the streets.
That's the one thing I could say about Curtis Sliwa, and I don't know why New Yorkers give him so much smoke and they don't support him because he is a New Yorker. There's no way I would pick a foreigner over somebody like that. Somebody that's not even from here. And like, we're going to unpack Mandami a lot in this, and I'm going to play you a lot of videos about even other Muslims that don't like him. So I just don't see how you would pick even Cuomo over Sliwa because he really is a person that seems to care about New York City. And we already know what Cuomo is going to do. I don't see why. If you could pick somebody like Mandami, you could pick somebody like Curtis Sliwa. If you could give Mandami a chance, you could give him a chance because I feel like he really does care about New Yorkers. Like he said, he's been all over New York. He knows what the problems are. He's been a protector of New York City. And I just don't understand why, he's not the guy. because neither one of them are going to. Cuomo is just going to be more of the same Democratic bullcrap, nothing getting done. And Mandami, there's a million and one reasons why he doesn't need to be the mayor of New York. There's no way on earth. I can't even believe that Democrats consider him for 5 seconds. With his background and his record and his contract, I just don't see how they chose him. But they did. Anybody that sells them a dream, they just fall for it. It's crazy. And the next thing about Sliwa is that he's going to have all the support of the president. It's his city, it's New York City, So I'm sure he'll get whatever that he needs for New York City from this administration. And I really think I am a person that goes on policy. I listen to the policies and the plan. Don't just tell me a policy and don't tell me a plan on how you're going to do it. Don't just try to play on my emotions and have no plan and no real strategic way of how to execute the plan. Okay? This is what Democrats do. They sell y'all dreams all the time and they have no way of how to execute it. And they don't execute anything. They just tell you whatever they need to tell you to get in office so they can scam money and do whatever they're doing with the tax dollars. I really thought that he had good plans, good ideas, and good ways to execute the things he was saying. So let's listen.
And Eric Adams constantly heckling at us like it's the perception. No, it's the reality of crime. We need 7,000 police officers. We are badly understaffed.
You know why they're understaffed? Because the Democrats defunded the police. I don't give a damn what nobody says. If you think back to the old times when they had beat cops, it was hardly any crime because they're out and about. Nobody's going to commit a crime when cops are on the beat watching everything. I don't have no problem with that. I grew up in a time like that when the police were, out in the neighborhoods, police in the neighborhoods doing their damn job. Democrats are crazy with the way how much crime they allowed into the city. It's crazy.
Need to get police officers in the subways actually patrolling the moving cars where people are most threatened and most frightened. And we need to bring back the homeless outreach unit that was disbanded when de Blasio took $1 billion out of the budget. These were men and women police officers who already had with them medical nurses and healthcare practitioners. But it was de Blasio who abolished it. And they've been talking about bringing something back ever since. But they never do it because I'm out there.
What did I just tell you? Democrats will always sell you a dream and never do it. And with Cuomo, you're going to get more of the same.
The subways every day and I never see it. And when I'm mayor, it gets done on day one. The homeless outreach unit is put back into the NYPD.
Thank you. Mr. Mandami.
When I hear from New Yorkers of where they feel least safe, they will often tell me the subway system. And when they explain those moments to me, what they are often explaining is a mental health crisis in our city and a crisis of homelessness that has only continued to grow. And that is why at the heart of our public safety agenda is a groundbreaking proposal to not only reduce crime, but address these very moments of unease for New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs by creating a Department of Community Safety that will be focused on the mental health crisis, focused on homelessness, and will ensure that police officers can focus on serious crimes. Because in 2020, the response time for those officers was less than 11 minutes. Today, it's closer to 16 minutes. And that's because—
Why do you think so? Because Democrats defunded the police. There's not enough police. Nobody wants to be a police officer. Lots of police officers left the city because of COVID mandates and stuff like that. Stop it. Say the truth of why that's happening. It's all Democrats' fault why everything is wrong with the city. Period.
Because every year they are now responding to 200,000 mental health calls when those are calls that could by and large be taken by experts trained on responding to that very crisis.
Thank you. Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The answer is always a new government agency. It's manage the system, manage the public safety system. We know how to do this. Mayor David Dinkins did it when we had a real crime problem. Hire more police officers. Of course, you have to deal with the mentally ill. Of course, that requires mental health specialists with police, because the situation can be dangerous, but hire the
That's what I'm saying. You mean to tell me a crazy person is acting crazy and you don't know what they could do or how they could lash out if they have weapons, and you're going to send a mental health person there and no police? Give me a freaking break. This is why I got out of New York City, because these are the dumbass policies that Democrats had. I cannot live in those cities ran by them. It's too crazy. It wore me out to the point where I had to go. I had to go.
1,000 more cops because they're all quitting, because they're getting worked too hard.
Yep.
You're going to have to raise the starting salary because nobody wants to be a cop today the way they're treated. Put 1,500 in the subways. Forget this Zoran idea.
Even though he's full of shit, because they could have been did that. You understand? Democrats could have been did that. Okay? He's been in office. I mean, give me a break. These people always talk about what they're going to do and what could be done, but they don't do it. They don't do it. Ever.
Idea of not prosecuting misdemeanors. Prosecute misdemeanors. Those are quality of life crimes. And that's very important. Yes, the subways are scary, but it's scary in their neighborhood too.
How about that?
So those quality of life crimes also have to be addressed.
Mr. Mandami.
No matter how many times Andrew Cuomo describes it as my idea or my policy, I have never once stated that we were not going to prosecute misdemeanors. And that is what you see from the former governor, is someone who spends more time talking about the platforms of other organizations and other individuals than the one that I've actually put forward, or the one that he is supposed to be running.
Now just listen to Mandami's answers for anything. He talks a lot and says absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Now we'll hear from Brian for another question.
And
Excuse me 1 second. Can I just
can I just
respond? Can I just respond to that accusation?
Whether it's misdemeanors or felonies, no cash bail releases them back into the streets, and both of you afford no cash bail.
And to me, I feel like I don't know what to think of. You know, you're innocent until proven guilty, and some people are locked up and they can't afford bail. I don't know, but I just feel like without bail, it's like people commit a crime, they go in, they come out, they go in, they come out. You know, it's like, and then they're just keep being returned to the streets to commit more crimes. So this really needs to be looked at. And I just feel Democrats are always really soft on criminals and crime, and this just getting worse and worse. To me, Democrats, like I keep telling you, they're globalists. They want to see New York City fall. They want it to fall. That way, once it collapses and everybody's distraught completely and completely destitute, then they can come in and offer you some social services. It's like they can enslave everybody faster that way if they collapse everything.
I want to move on. You'll get your opportunities, I think, because I want to bring up a particular crime concern, and that is violence among younger New Yorkers, specifically teenagers. My question.
And let's say it right, Black teenagers, because they're the main ones committing the crimes, the Black and Latino teenagers. And a lot of the reason why is because they're too soft on crime. And then like older criminals know that let's get these young kids to commit these crimes, because they'll just be in and out and just keep turning them over and commit crimes and get out and commit crimes and get out. It's just crazy the way this system is. I'm sorry. They need to get these kids off the street because they are very freaking dangerous.
Question is, what is your stance on the statewide raise the age law, which increased the age of adult criminal responsibility from 16 years old to 18 for most crimes? Police Commissioner Tisch says, quote, the mentality on the street is that nothing happens to those under 18 who possess a gun.
And let me tell you something. You cannot tell me that a 16-year-old or 14-year-old doesn't know that it's bad to shoot somebody or to kill somebody or to sell drugs or to beat up somebody, whatever. They know better. They know better. And this is why it's getting so out of hand, because they don't fear any repercussions to their behavior. New York is going to be like the purge. Look at how Chicago is. That's exactly how it's going to be. All those sanctuary city places, they're just going to be terrible. And everybody's just leaving these places. If they can afford to go, they leave. And I just feel bad for anybody stuck in one of these cities. Seriously.
Would you support modifying raise the age in any way? And Mr. Mandami, since you just announced that you would invite Commissioner Tisch to stay on, would you go along with her on this?
I would not support changes to the state's legislation, and I would not support them because the major issue with the implementation of that legislation has been the fact that there is hundreds of millions of dollars that was supposed to be delivered alongside that law that is still languishing in Albany. And I am excited to be the next mayor of the city to finally fight for the money that this city is owed to ensure that we deliver it to our young people across the 5 boroughs.
Mr. Cuomo.
How, though? How are you going to do that?
What I was referring to before is Zoran is a member of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. They have a charter. He gives them 3% of his salary.
And a lot of y'all don't understand what socialism is. I don't see why anybody would want to live in a socialist society. And for those of you who don't know what that means, look it up. Because that's where y'all going. Socialism, communism, y'all going to be like China. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I don't want to be penalized because I earn a certain amount of money and work hard and, want to live a decent life. I don't want to live an average life with everybody else when I'm doing the work. That's crazy to me. It's just dumb across the board, Democrats and everything they do. And then now this socialism and communism and all, it's crazy. I can't even believe that anybody falls for this. This is how dumb their bases. I'm sorry if anybody's offended, but this is just how it's all crazy.
He has said multiple times, I'm a DSA member.
Hi, Patrick. Thank you.
They say abolish jails, defund police, don't enforce misdemeanors. Go to my website, andrewcuomo.com. It's right on the front page. Now, is he lying?
And y'all really do need to go to their websites and look at the policies. Research what they are saying. Use your common sense and discernment to see if what they're telling you is actually going to work and is actually feasible, or if you're just being told some bullshit.
The DSA, is he lying to New Yorkers? Is he lying to everybody? Who knows? On the raise the age, I passed the law. I support the law. It's we were one of only 2 states that put 16 and 17-year-olds in adult prisons. It was inhumane. It was cruel and unusual, and I'm proud of that law.
I mean, let me tell you something. You can't tell me that a 16-year-old does not know that it is wrong to shoot somebody or to steal and rob. They're going to torture you in adult prison. They're going to torture you. Just like they're going to torture you when you're 18. Don't do the dumb shit that end up in there in the first place. That is what I would suggest. Because you know better. Even if you don't have parents to tell you right from wrong, common sense is going to tell you if I shoot somebody, I could end up in prison. And I feel like if you are going to put them in juvenile detention, they need to get harsher sentences, because there's no way that you could commit a crime at 16 and then get out at 21 or whatever. It's not right. And it just makes they're like, oh, that ain't nothing. I served that time. That ain't nothing. They right back out in the street doing the same thing again.
It's administered by local governments. Some are doing it better than others. If Zoran thought that there was money locked up in Albany, maybe he should have gone to Albany and proposed a bill to release it.
Once again, the architect of Raise the Age, Governor Cuomo, the apprentice to him, Zoran. It's personal for me. My oldest son, Anthony, last October was the victim of a vicious gang assault that could have killed him. And what happened to these juveniles?
Nothing.
Cut free, because they went to family court, not criminal court. So how can both of you look at me? I almost lost my oldest son to gang violence, and the perpetrators went to family court. And
this is the thing. None of these people care because they don't live with them. They don't live with them. How do you think Black people feel? They have to live with these wild ass demon children out here shooting people, robbing, stealing, burglarizing. We're suffering the most with them. Come on, that's crazy. They don't care because they don't have to deal with it. They're somewhere rich, somewhere living somewhere away from it all. The one thing I can say about Curtis Sliwa, he's like he said, he's been in every neighborhood in New York City and he knows what's going on. They don't. Mark Kendall says people are stupid and don't read history. This guy is pure evil who is merely practicing takia. Look at what's happening in Europe and more specifically the UK. Yes, you are right. You are absolutely right. And even other Muslims that are ex-Muslims and stuff like that, they are all saying that he is practicing takia. And if you look at his background and his father and who he's aligned with, I really am starting to believe that. And it's a shame that people, like he said, are stupid and they just get behind somebody without doing the research to really see who they are. If they elect him, it's a wrap on New York. I'm telling you, it's a wrap.
A little pat on the wrist and was sent home to do it again and again. No, we need to start charging juveniles who commit violent crimes.
Yes, you do.
In criminal court.
Yes, you do.
Criminal court judges who follow the law and don't just release them because of no cash bail.
Clear difference between you on that. Ms. Arrow, you pick it up.
Okay, candidates, I've got individual questions for you, and we're going to try and pick up the pace a little bit here. I'd like you to really just explain kind of where you're coming from. Mr. Mandami, you've called for reorganizing the NYPD to create this Department of Community Safety that, among other things, would handle calls involving people in mental health distress.
This is the dumbest thing in the world.
Opponents have disparaged this as sending social workers rather than cops into dangerous situations like domestic violence disputes. Explain really what you have in mind, and please include any evidence that this approach would work.
Absolutely. What my opponents are clinging to is the past, because that's all that they know.
Now watch what he's going to say.
What I am proposing is something that will address the needs of New Yorkers in the present. We speak and hear from New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs who outline how the mental health crisis is one of the major challenges in this city. And yet what we have in our city is asking those same police officers who are being asked to respond to shootings, respond to murders, to also respond to these calls. I trust the dispatchers who would be receiving these calls.
They can respond to them if you have enough police. Even Cuomo and Sliwa agree with that. How are you going to have less police and send social workers to a crime happening with a crazy person? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You get them to social worker once you get them to safety and away from everybody else. These people are crazy.
To make the determination as to whether there was any indication of violence. If there is no indication of a threat of violence, then we would set the mental health experts and providers to respond to those same incidents.
How does a social worker know if somebody having a mental disruption is going to do something crazy or start stabbing everybody or beating them up or slamming their head into the concrete? That is crazy. That is crazy.
Reason I believe in the efficacy of this approach is because of the fact that it has been delivered elsewhere in the country. So no matter how often you hear those on this stage tell you that something cannot be done, know that there are others in this same country who have seen it, and it is time for that same policy to come to New York City.
Okay.
Mark Kendall says, what's scary is the Dems will make him a presidential candidate in a number of years. The Muam Bruhad, I don't know what that says. Muam Brohood plan on making the whole world Muslim, migrate, infiltrate caliphate. We need another crusader. We need other crusaders. Yes, I agree. Because in their religion, they say they want to conquer everywhere. And they are willing to lie. It's in their religion to lie to the people to get them. Muslim Brotherhood, okay. They're willing to lie. They're allowed to lie to the people to, meet their agenda. And a lot of people believe that's what he's doing. Takia, I think that's what they call it, is, fronting and lying until they get in a position of power and then they're gonna sock it to your ass. So, you know, they're not gonna blend well with other faiths because they already say they don't like Christians, they don't like Jews. I mean, it's not gonna be, can we all just get along if they are in control? So it's something to think about. You know, I always say, I keep telling y'all, I have family and friends that are Muslim, but they not no radical ones like these, you know. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. But I know if New York votes for him, it's going to be a mess.
Mr. Sliwa and Mr. Cuomo, I have a similar question for both of you. The department currently fields about 33,000 officers, down from 37,000 in 2018. Public safety budget approaching $10 billion. Mr. Sliwa, you want to hire 7,000 more cops. Mr. Cuomo says 5,000 more cops. Each of you make the case for why you
think— And Mandami wants no new cops. He wants social workers. Give me a break.
That's necessary, especially given the fact that for for much of New York City, crime declines over the last 20 years happened while the size of the force was also declining and not rising.
Errol, I have to revisit the last debate for a second when Zoran was basing this policy on what they do in Eugene, Oregon. You've never been to Eugene, Oregon. I have. Are you out of your mind? And then Columbus, Ohio. This is New York City, a major metropolitan area with thousands of 911 calls, domestic abuse, emotionally disturbed persons. And you want to have social workers go out there and risk their life. And by the way, they're not going to get the results that a trained professional police officer can get. That's why we so desperately need 7,000 new cops. We'll use the Boston model, which is pay now in lieu of taxes. They do it at Harvard University and the other university.
How about
we'll
that?
Raise $1 billion, get them vetted, trained, and out into the streets so they can be seen in all the neighborhoods.
Yep.
And most importantly, do the job they were sworn to do. And I will make sure.
And see, one thing I like about him is he doesn't just say what he's going to do. He'll tell you how they're going to do it, how he think he could get the money, and etc. And how they can execute the plan. The rest of these people are just selling you a dream. It's BS.
That their insurance, the qualified immunity that was stripped from them, the only civil servants who are not protected by the taxpayer, is returned so that they can freely go out and do what they were trained to do, is to protect all of the people of New York City.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo.
I'm going to skip a little bit. The link to this is going to be in the description because I have so much other stuff I want to show y'all. So I want to skip to this part right here because you can watch this on your own time. If you haven't watched this by now, though, you should have, because if you live in New York City, you guys better get it together and fast and do the research, because
I'm not sure what the man said, but the situation, my legal situation, as we discussed before, was fully litigated. I was dropped from the cases.
And for those of you that don't know, Cuomo was accused of sexual harassment from some women, like 12 women or something like that, and it was dropped. But regardless, I mean, I don't really care about that because it was dropped. I guess they couldn't prove it or whatever the case may be. And all of these guys in these politics, they do nefarious stuff with women or whatever the case may be. It was dropped. Maybe it was enough evidence. 12 women came forward and the case was dropped. I don't know. I just don't think they should pick him, and I don't think they should pick Mandami. I feel like they should give Sliwa a chance. It's only for a short period of time, and if he does good, if he doesn't do good, you can vote him out of office. But I just don't think he's going to destroy the city like how Mandami and Cuomo is going to.
If anyone has a legal situation to talk about, I think it's Mr. Sliwa, who runs the Guardian Angels, and apparently as a charitable donation, but never filed any tax returns for the Guardian Angels, and has been accepting charitable donations.
Oh, so what? The Guardian Angels defended the city and the streets were safe and everything, and if he didn't file tax, I don't even care. I don't care about none of this petty shit on any of these people. I'm looking at the policies. What policies are they going to come in with to make it better for the people that live there and the kids, the next generation? And I like what he was saying about jobs and housing and stuff like that. These people have nothing for you. Mark Kendall says, I'm from New York and was in high school when 9/11 happened. If they elect this individual, it will be a disrespectful affront to all those who perished that day. New York can end up resembling London. Yes, it will. It already is resembling London. They're out in Times Square, blocking traffic and taking up the whole street, praying and all that. You know, in Texas, they, doing calls to prayer at 5 a.m. over loudspeakers, waking up the whole neighborhood. It's not, you can see with just a little bit that they have what it's going to be, and I'm going to show you in here where Muslim people are telling you what it is. I read the Quran before. Some of y'all never even read it. You don't even know what you're dealing with. I don't think any foreigner should have whole government seats in our government at all. At all. I just don't see why you would have somebody from another country come here and be a part of our government and create policies for us here. That should just be not allowed ever. You have to be born here and have allegiance to here. There are so many foreigners with agendas with their home nations and all that stuff that's making policies for us. It's the dumbest shit in the world. I don't understand that.
Nations, which is just a crime and tax fraud. So I think that's the person who I was explaining to do.
Okay, your turn to ask a question, Mr. Cuomo.
To Zoran, I believe, as we've stated, that you have been a divisive force in New York, and I believe that's toxic energy for New York. It's with the Jewish community. It's with the Italian American community when you give the Columbus statue the finger. It's with the Sunni Muslims when you say.
And it is true. It's very true. However anybody feels about Columbus and this and that, a lot of people say Columbus never even made it to the Americas. It's a whole lot of controversy about this. But however you may feel about it, that's the Italian people's person or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Why are we fighting over this little dumb shit? And me, honestly, once you're an American, America should be first. Forget Italy and all that. I said we should be worried about what is happening here, and all of these little petty arguments to keep everybody divided is stupid. And one thing I can say about Mandami, the Italians don't like him, the Jews don't like him. Other Muslims don't like him because he wants to ban, allow prostitution, all this crime. It's like no one really likes him except for liberals. For some reason, this is their guy. I don't know why. It's like one thing about liberals, they can never read the room. And this is the reason why they are falling off completely and have the lowest approval rating ever in politics of any party, because they cannot read what the people feel about them or about their people that they put up front. Nobody wants him. Nobody really wants him. But for some reason, it's like he's been planted and gassed up and hyped up. You know what I mean? But he's not who he says he is at all. And I don't know why anybody would pick somebody like that to run New York City. He has no experience on running anything. And they're just going to trust him out of nowhere. He just appeared out of nowhere. It's crazy.
Prostitution, which is haram. It's the Hindus. But then you take a picture with Rebecca Kadaga.
He sure did.
Deputy Prime Minister of Uganda. You take a picture with your father. You're smiling. He's smiling. She's known as Rebecca Gay Killer Kadaga.
Question.
You're a citizen of Uganda. You took the picture. You said you didn't know who she was. It turns out you did. How do you not renounce your citizenship or demand BDS against Uganda for imprisoning people who are gay?
And let me tell you something. This is the craziest thing to me. Like, Queers for Palestine and all these things. In their faith, they kill gays. They do not subscribe to gay. They don't. And trans and all that stuff, they don't. And in their world, it would not exist. So this is why they feel like he's doing to Kia, because if he's a real Muslim, he cannot subscribe to any of that, but he's just saying that until he gets in his position of power. You understand? And then it'll be, oh, he's all for his people and stuff. Because he's made comments like that, like where he said he was for film saying something like, you know, he wants to see the country with the people of their own image or something like that. And certain things, when he was asked, he wouldn't renounce. So he's full of crap. He's full of crap. I'm telling y'all, do not listen. If you guys vote for somebody, vote for him. I feel sorry for New York, man. I really do. I really do. I really wish that people would just give Sliwa a chance, because I feel like he's earned it as far as his loyalty to New York. And you know, I feel like he would do a decent job. I really do. And I don't feel like he could make it worse. I just feel like liberals and Democrats, they don't care. They do not care. They have a globalist agenda that they're working towards, and they don't care about the people. Mark says this race shouldn't be close. Sliwa or Cuomo or should drop out. Mandami is pure evil. His policies are purely theoretical. History shows socialism doesn't work. It damn sure does. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why should people that are working hard pay for people that don't want to? I don't get it. And I don't want to be made to be on the level of the people that ain't doing shit. This is just crazy that people want to give up their rights and just be dumb. It's unbelievable. I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror. You know, I never thought humanity would be like Equilibrium or 1984 or any of those, you know, sci-fi horror movies. But here we are. Here we are. I mean, he's right, though. Sliwa or Cuomo should drop out. I just feel that Cuomo should drop out. He's been in politics forever, and I just feel like, I really feel that policy-wise and how he's speaking on how to get things done, I feel like Sliwa is the only one that really, I feel like, really cares about New York and really had policies that make sense and ways to execute them make sense, and ways to get the money from cutting, you know, wasteful. That's what I'm saying. Cutting waste. Democrats waste so much money. Cutting waste alone and getting rid of all these people making stupid money that are not doing shit is the money right there. And he said that.
Just by their sexual orientation. Isn't that a basic violation of human rights?
I think he gets the question.
My politics is consistent, and my politics is built on a belief in human rights for all people. And that extends to queer and trans New Yorkers, and it extends to queer and trans...
No, it don't. Not in his faith. No, it doesn't. He's lying. Kia? Is that what he's doing? Because if he's a real Muslim, that is a lie. They do not subscribe to that.
Ugandans. And had I known that the first deputy minister was the architect of that legislation, I would not have taken that photo.
He knew. He
and
knew.
Yet I also know that this constant attempt to smear and slander me is an attempt to also destroy.
Now he's getting slandered and smeared. When he knew, just like Cuomo said, you knew who it was. Real Muslims do not subscribe to gay, trans, all that stuff. They just don't. Then 1 minute he's out with his Muslim people talking about he's for them and he's going to make a way for them. And then he gets in front of us and say that he, you know, is not. You know, hey, Stanley, thanks for watching. Thank you. I love you too. This person right here is not the one at all. At all. If you think that they're, you know, coming here and trying to force a way of thinking on you and, you know, rioting at the universities and, you know, taking over Times Square and all that, it's going to be 100 times worse with him. I'm sorry. And like I said, I don't have nothing against Muslims, but I just don't feel somebody from another country should be coming here and trying to create policies for Americans. Go to Uganda or wherever he's from and go create policies for them over there. I just don't understand why anybody would want this or trust this. I don't trust them. I don't trust him at all.
From the fact that, unlike myself, you do not actually have a platform or a set of policies.
Stanley says he's a snake and will affect the entire tri-state simply being mayor. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Shit, maybe even the whole damn country, because, you know, our whole money system is here. Wall Street, all of that. It's so much infrastructure here that he could really, you know, why would you give somebody from another country control over the most important city in America? You have to be retarded. You have to be. You're giving New York City over to a foreigner that's not even from here, that doesn't like the policies, don't like how they do things in New York, I mean, in America, and you're going to give him the biggest city in America, if not the world. Y'all are crazy. Straight up, y'all crazy.
Protect those same New Yorkers here. All you have are the insults that you have lobbed at every single opportunity you have.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's it.
What did he say? Absolutely nothing.
It's just a question and answer.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all.
Your turn to ask a question.
Mr. Cuomo, in 2021, 13 different women who worked in your administration incredibly.
Now he's going to bring this up again about the women when he just answered that. He answered that. Now, if you would have came up with a better question to ask him, then you would be saying something. But you literally are just asking him the exact same thing he just responded to. This is why I say he's full of shit. Full of shit. Let me move forward a little bit because I want to get through this. Got some other stuff to show y'all. This guy is full of shit. I don't see how anybody would want him. Anybody. And liberals, like Malcolm X said, are the enemies of America. If they would pick somebody like this, you have to be an enemy of America. Straight, for real. There's no way. There's no way.
Katie.
We're going to move on now to the economy. Ms. Mandami, you're proposing to raise the city's minimum wage to $30 an hour.
Mark says liberals are useful idiots. We've seen this with Mao Zedong, Castro, and Che Guevara. Once their usefulness has been served, they are oppressed, imprisoned, and unalive. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. That's what everybody's saying. To kill, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna lie to you and tell you whatever they got to do to get in power, and then they're gonna sock it to your ass. Stanley says, ask him what his Sharia law has done to women. Beats Cuomo's little group of 17. Ooh, how about that? How about that? Somebody should have been fast on their feet and said that. That's the truth, though. That is really facts.
By 2030. How would you get the state legislature to go along with your plan? And do you think it's realistic to feel that a small business owner would have to pay every employee this amount, especially when the city currently doesn't mandate that figure for its own public employees? And I have separate questions.
Now listen to this dumbass shit, Mandami, you're gonna say.
So this would be something where the
Mandami,
city would have to start doing so as well, because any law that we want New Yorkers to follow, the city should be following it itself. And the reason that we put forward $30 by 2030 is that that's the minimum that a New Yorker needs to be paid to be able to afford to live in this city. And what we are looking at right now is the possibility of the place that we know and love becoming a museum of where working class people used to be able to live. Our proposal that we've put forward would be phased in over.
What is the proposal? This is what I'm saying. They're just going to tell you all these things they want to do, but they're never going to explain to you how it's going to work. This is crazy.
For a longer period of time for small business owners to ensure that they could deal with this. And it's also one that we are confident we would be able to accomplish because of the fact that we are seeing from New Yorkers time and time again, the absence of it is pushing them to live in Jersey.
Everybody is going to take their businesses and leave New York. They're already talking about it. They're talking about it. And everybody leaves New York because of the crime, the political policies and stuff like that. And more, you think people are not going to leave when he gets in there? More people are going to leave when he gets in there. Just watch.
City, to live in Pennsylvania, to live in Connecticut, because they can't afford to live in New York City.
Thank you. And for Mr. Sliwa and Mr. Cuomo.
I didn't leave New York because I couldn't afford to live there. I left New York because of the political policies, their vaccine mandates, their shots, 4 shots for kids to go to school and all that. Where I moved to, you can do a religious exemption. You don't have to worry about none of half the shit that you have to worry about in New York City. Democrats have destroyed America, not just New York. Everywhere they go. Stanley's, yes.
If you're not in favor of a $30 minimum wage, what are your plans to raise the salaries of workers in New York City? We'll start with you, Mr. Sliwa.
First off, Zohan Mandami deals with fantasy, not reality. Look at all the Uber drivers. Look at all the taxi drivers and Lyft drivers. They will now have driverless cars. That's what they're pushing. AI that's going to be wiping out so many jobs, especially for young men and women who went to school, got their 4 years of college, 2-year degree, and they're making 150.
I just was watching a video about kids from Harvard and they can't get jobs. And you know how most people coming out of college cannot get a job, and how jobs are fully, you know, the applications are looked over by AI and stuff like that. And like, it's just going to be, it's very impossible, no matter how educated you are, to get a job. What he's saying is 100. Listen to what he's going to say.
5,000, and then they get wiped out. You know what the corporate sector is going to do. They're going to bring in robotics. Zoran, stop dealing with fantasy and start dealing with reality. You're pushing businesses out because you want to tax them. I'm the only one.
They want to collapse New York City. They want to collapse the whole country, but he's going to collapse New York City, and then they're going to come in with a whole new way of doing and running everything. It's a reset. Just watch what I'm telling y'all. Y'all better listen and stop being so damn silly and really listen and do the research and understand this party and who you're dealing with. It's not the Democratic Party of like JFK days. It's completely changed.
Here who wants to cut the corporate taxes, the income tax, the property tax we can cut in order to keep business here. But if you raise the minimum wage too high, they're going to end up going in a different direction.
And what kills me is that Democrats and their socialist ideas and their communist ideas, they want to tax the rich, tax the corporations. You cannot overdo taxing the people creating the jobs, because they will take their jobs elsewhere where it's cheaper. And we see that in my industry in film. It's like they want so much to where they say, you know what, we'll just go. We'll just leave. We'll just go abroad where we're done. You know what I'm saying? So he's right. If you make it so expensive, it'll be where there is no jobs. They always are going to find a way to save the money. Nobody's going to pay that. They're not going to pay it. And you're expecting a small little business to pay $30 an hour. It's just never going to happen. Everybody's going to leave. All their businesses are going to close. And it's going to be nothing but these corporate entities. If the corporate entities even want to stay in New York, because they're going to make it so expensive and tax them so much. And that's what Stanley's saying. Hollywood did it. The same thing. And look at them. That completely collapsed. And you know, hardly any movies are going to be made here. They take them abroad and doing AI and doing everything to make it less money. Listen to what he's going to say. I just feel that Sliwa has the best policies and the best solutions. He has answers to how he can get things done, everything. That's the same way Donald Trump was. And that's why he got elected, because he said when he figured out what was the problem that people had, just like Sliwa said, I've been in every city, every town in New York City. And he knows what's going on. He knows what the people are asking for, what their problems are. And he's going to try his best to deliver it. And that's what Trump did. And that's why he won. Everything he ran on, he is doing it. Democrats sell you a dream and get nothing done. Mark says, you and me can see the writing on the wall and understand that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Democrats have embraced two of the most dangerous ideologies, communism and radical Islam. How about that? Yes, they have. And, you know, their base does think that things are free. And they do think that, you know, they're an emotional group. They're very emotional and they're always in their feelings about something. And you can't make decisions like that. You know, you have to look at the policies and see, do you align with the policies? Do you align with the direction they're going in? Do you believe with what they're telling you that they can even execute this at all? That's why Democrats don't get anything done, because they promise you things that cannot be executed. Listen to what Sliwa was going to say. I like everything that he had to say. And he's going to talk about education too, and I liked what he had to say about that too.
And they're not going to hire workers. It's going to be robots and driverless cars and AI, and I'm opposed to that.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah, I half agree with Curtis.
Yeah, you do have to agree. You have to agree with what he said, because he's 100% right. You cannot overtax the people that are creating the jobs, because they're going to stop creating jobs or they're going to take the jobs away. They're going to figure out a way to make it cheaper and keep their business and keep their money in their pocket. You understand? There's already no jobs, and you're going to make sure that they take the last of the big jobs. That's what I'm saying. They just come to collapse and destroy everything. Malcolm X said it decades ago, that liberals are the enemies of America, because they are globalists. They want to control the world. They want this one world government. They want to rule everybody. Y'all keep playing. Y'all keep playing with these people here. Keep playing with these people. Because you talk about, oh, you don't vote for us, you're going to be in chains. No, you keep voting for us, you're going to be in a burqa. You're going to be, you know, in Sharia law court. Keep playing. Agenda 3081, Mark says.
There is...
Stanley says, once the corporations leave and find a way to do it cheaper, they will never come back. Never. Never, ever. And I'm telling you, New York is going to be a welfare state, and it's going to be like the purge, lawlessness, and it's going to be like Escape from New York. It's going to be just a prison state with nothing but wild-ass crazy people and poor people. Anybody that can't get out is going to be stuck. Just like Escape from New York or any of those sci-fi futuristic movies that's, you know, what do you call that? Dystopian type movies and stuff. You know, that's what it's going to be. Hunger Games, that's what it's going to be in the cities.
Zoran does have socialist theory colliding with practical reality. I went through this. We raised the minimum wage to the highest in the United States of America. New York set the bar. We set it at $15. Every other state said, that's crazy when we did it. People in this.
And one thing I could say about giving corporations breaks and stuff like that is that it will encourage people to be entrepreneurs. You understand? To create things of their own and become business people of their own and own their own businesses and stuff like that. They said more Black people created businesses over COVID than ever in history, I think. So when your back is against the wall, there's some people that's going to sink. There's some people that's going to swim. That's capitalism. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Why do I have to be forced to be down in a lower realm because some other people are not doing? You know, I don't want to be equal with everybody. If I work and do the work, I want my value. I want my value. I don't want to, you know, do all the work and then pay for a bunch of people that want to do nothing. I don't mind paying for disabled. I don't even mind paying for, you know, women with kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? To help them get on their feet, not take care of them indefinitely for the next 30 years. I mean, it's crazy. Our money goes to make politicians rich. That's the reason why they can go in office and come out multi-millionaires. They come in broke and they come out multi-millionaires because they're corrupt. Nobody goes in politics to help people, I don't think. I really don't. Except, you know, I feel like Curtis Sliwa has shown over the years that he cares for New York, and he did mostly all his public service for no money. You know what I'm saying? And then Cuomo's gonna say he didn't pay taxes. Like, who cares? I wish I didn't have to pay my taxes. You know, it's a charitable organization. They're risking their lives out in the subways trying to protect people and stuff like that. Who cares? You were accused of a crime. You got acquitted. Who cares? You got your due process, and they said that you didn't do it. Move on. I just do not want Mandami, whatever he calls him, whatever his name is. If New York votes for him, I will be so shocked. And they're going to be just like Chicago, where Chicago voted for that mayor they got, Johnson, and then he bankrupted the city paying for illegals. And now they mad and they hating at him, and they always at the town halls crying and complaining. But you voted for him. You voted for him. If you would have did the research in the beginning, you would have saw he wasn't equipped to run no city.
He said that was crazy when we did it. But it was calibrated. It was doable. We phased it in different parts of the state. We phased it in with small businesses. We gave them assistance. Because if you raise it too high, and I believe 30 is too high, I would raise it to 20. If you raise it to too high, you do two things. People lose their jobs. You bankrupt the businesses.
Yep.
You're talking about basically doubling payroll. And you can have a negative effect where literally businesses close and people lose their jobs.
Yep.
And overall, again, it's another tax on corporations, another reason to leave New York, another reason to pack up the family and get on I-95 and go to South Carolina and Florida and Texas.
All right. Candidates, we are coming down the home stretch. I want to alert our media partners, especially we're going to go over by 5 minutes, and we're going to have Brian lead a conversation about transit.
Right, and we're going to have to do this very briefly to each of you because you each have transit things to
I'm going to skip over this transit
Mr.
part because I want to see what they're going to say about the education part. Did I skip it? It might be back here. It was interesting what they talked about Rikers Island. You guys got to go back and watch that, but I want to see this part about education real quick because I felt like Sliwa was cooking on this because he seemed like he had a plan.
Right.
Our next topic is education. The next mayor will oversee the largest school system in the United States, as you know, with roughly 900,000 students, thousands of schools, and billions of dollars in budget. We have an education question for each of you. Mr. Mamdani, you said you would give up mayoral control of schools and share decision-making with various stakeholders. But in the last debate, you said you're still for mayoral accountability for educational outcomes. This has confused some people about how you can give up final authority but still hold yourself accountable. Can you try to clarify that?
I remain opposed to mayoral control, and I also believe that the mayor is accountable for that which happens in this city. I will not shirk that accountability, even when we are putting together a system that has greater involvement for parents, for educators, for students. Look, 1 in 300 Americans is a student in the New York City public schools.
Now, this is what I can't stand. Is they ask you a question, how are you going to do that? We don't need to hear them statistics, no one cares. How are you going to do it? Where is the money coming from? Who, what, where, when, why, and how? But you never get that. But I thought Sliwa did that.
System. This is a system where we are failing to deliver excellence to students, to teachers,
we already know that.
To parents, and it is time to have a mayor who understands not only the crisis in front of us, but the fact that we have to change our ways if we want to change our results.
How?
And that is what we are running on, a plan for the future, not
What's
to simply
the plan?
relitigate the past.
Mr. Sliwa,
what is
you
the plan?
Proposed reducing the education budget by $10 billion, or about 25%.
Now watch what he's going to say.
For tax cuts. But your website includes things like, quote, hire more therapists, expand services for students with learning differences, build new vocational high schools, restore arts programs, expand athletic programs, and increase teacher pay to attract and retain top talent. Those are all exact quotes from your website. How do you defund?
Now watch what he's going to say. He said what he wants to do. He says how he's going to do it and where he's going to get the money.
The Education Department by 25% to cut taxes, add in the Trump administration's various cuts, and do all those expansions at the same time.
Well, let me tell you, you have a bureaucracy at the Tweed Courthouse. Perfect place to house the Department of Education because of the corruption in the top ranks. You have 13 deputy chancellors. You have about 50 department heads. Nobody at the school level ever deals with them. $41,000 we pay per.
And that's why everybody's saying they need to defund the Board of Ed, because most of the money is not going to the kids. It's not. So if you get rid of all of those people that are there making money doing nothing, that's the money right there.
And teachers still have to reach into their pockets.
Stanley says he left out the indoctrination of the next generation of voters. That too. That too.
Pockets to pay for basic supplies. You cut at the top. Contracts that have been negotiated that have not been overseen, you will save millions and millions of dollars. And yes, you open up the schools as it was when I went to public school, after school center, night center, weekend center, not just sports.
That is so true, because when I was a kid, they did have all of that. And you learn vocations in middle school and through high school. And like you could come out with a certificate out of high school. And he's right about this, because like he said, AI, robotics, and all that stuff is coming. They need to have vocations to teach people how to build these damn robots. They need to have vocations to teach people how to build things and stuff like that, because these college desk jobs and stuff, they don't exist no more. They do not. And he is right. And they need to have more arts and stuff like that, because that expands your mind and it gives you other type of skills that work for you in life in general, you know? Half of these kids don't even know how to write a letter or anything like that. They don't know how to do cursive and stuff like that. He is so right about the vocational and how the whole education system needs to be changed to prepare kids to work in the future, because going to college is not anymore. It's just not. It's so many people coming. It's too many people coming out of college, and there's not a need for them. But people that work with their hands, they're always going to be needed. They're always going to be able to have a job. I don't care what nobody says. I'm freaking glad that at the last minute, I decided not to go to college and decided to be a cosmetologist, because that gave me a career that paid me really good money. Anywhere I go on earth, people have hair, and I could always make some money. And I had an amazing career with it. And no one else can do what I do the way I do it. You understand? They said tomorrow's millionaires are going to be plumbers, electricians, people like that. Vocational is going to come back and make it a comeback. Mark says, I believe that AI is part of China's curriculum starting as early as 2nd grade. Yes, it is. I put my son in STEM class to learn how to make robots when he was little. He didn't like I put him in coding too, but he didn't like the coding side. I didn't press him too hard on that. But he did like learning how to build the robots. You know, he wasn't the best in programming them, but maybe he'd be a person that can help build them. You know, so all the kids should learn stuff like this. It was just amazing to me that I had to pay out my pocket for my son to learn STEM. They didn't even teach it at school. Some of the after-school programs, like he's saying, the after-school programs now might teach STEM, but the regular school did not teach that. So he's right about that. And you do need from little kids to have, my son was always in an after-school program, because, and I might even have to pay extra sometimes to keep him in after school program because it keeps them from being idle. It gives them help with their homework. A lot of parents work and they can't do the homework with them. And my son's homework will be done by the time he got home because they make them do it in the after school program. And then in the after school program, they might teach them STEM or they might do sports or whatever, you know, just keep them occupied. You know what I mean? And then we also had community centers in the neighborhoods to give kids places to go. It's like all of that stuff is gone. And that's why you see the kids so dumb and just hanging out, and society is deteriorating because all of those things that make a strong kid and teach kids how to navigate life and how to have careers that are going to, you know, make them afford the life that they want to live is gone.
But culture, plays, musicals, people used to be able to take instruments home when they were in band and orchestra. That attracted children. 1/3 of our
Stanley says these schools are too busy teaching how to mix it up with genders in the bathrooms and sports. It's true. It's true. They're indoctrination camps. And just like, you know, most of the schools, the colleges are liberal. And look at them. They can't even get jobs. Coming out of Harvard, they can't even get jobs. And I was watching one documentary where it said, where a lot of the employees were saying they don't want these kids from Harvard because they think they're so smart and you can't teach them nothing. And they really are not that smart. You know what I mean? Like they all know the same thing. They're looking for talent that is free thinking and creative and stuff like that, which was very fascinating to me. So, you know, a lot of employers said they'd rather take that person that doesn't have the degree and train them because they have a mind that's, you know, thinking outside of the box. So that was very fascinating to me.
Children don't even come to school each day. And we need more vocational training like we had when I was growing up. That's been depleted. And more charter schools. We need to raise the cap and have more charter schools for the children who have been waiting to get in for years.
Yep.
Katie has an education question for Mr. Cuomo.
Thanks, Brian. Mr. Cuomo, there's currently a state law to reduce class sizes in the city. You recently described the law as, quote, reckless, and proposed that popular schools be exempted from this law. You also want to start closing low-performing schools, one of the most controversial policies of Mayor Bloomberg.
And to me, I feel like I had to get an IEP for my son just to get him in a smaller class because the classes we have like 25 and 30 kids. My son doesn't learn like that, especially when he was little. So I had to get an IEP just to have him in a class where it wasn't so big and where he could get more attention in the class. That's crazy to me to have that many kids in a class with one teacher. Some classrooms have two teachers, but most of the time they don't. So that one teacher can't make sure all the kids are learning. It's crazy. It's really sad what's happened, you know? It's really sad what's happened. And it's like, they got to start from scratch with these kids. It's like, I feel like this generation is lost. Like they got to start with the babies now. I feel like, you know, it's too late. And I feel like Sliwa's plan makes sense. Even Cuomo, none of them make any sense. Why would you close the schools, make them perform well? Get rid of the teachers that are there and not doing a good job. Because a lot of the teachers that are there, they're there to get a check because they can't get a job doing nothing in their field. So they go be a teacher, but they really don't want to be teachers. I agree with him. You need to raise the salary for, you know, people like that. So it can, you know, like he said, so you can lure in good talent because a lot of these teachers do not want to be there. And the schools are wild. The schools out here have armed police where I'm at. You know, and, you know, I just feel like everything is just so corrupt and mismanaged, and you need an honest person in there to clean that. I don't get it. I don't understand why people can't just look at Democrats and see that they are not the ones. They are not the ones. They've been in power for decades. Every once in a while, a Republican to get in there, or whatever. But they've been in power for decades. And mostly all of these problems they have created it.
you defy the class size law? And if you close existing schools rather than work to improve them, what specifically helps the kids learn more and where?
Yeah, the common denominator on all these things is, the question is, what is your plan to change things, and what is your ability and experience to do it? These are management challenges. And I have managed large.
Nobody asked you that. They said, what is the plan? What is the plan? Sliwa gave a plan. He said, I'm going to cut the money of all of these people that's up in the high ranking getting money that don't do nothing. There's millions of dollars being wasted and all kind of wasteful policies and contracts they got. We're going to get rid of all of that. It's just like Trump did with Doge, and he saved a lot of money with that. He's saying that's what he's going to do. And with that savings, he's going to use it for vocational and this and that and this and that and this and that. And he wants to see more charter schools opened or whatever. He's not trying to make less schools. He's trying to make the schools function better. Pay the teachers more money, this and that. He explained how he would make the money. And I'm sure that he would get all the support from Donald Trump if he has any ideas to make New York better, because Trump also ran on helping New York because that's where he's from. But it's just so many other things wrong in America that he hasn't gotten to New York yet, but I'm sure he's going to. Because New York is a mess. And nobody's talking about all those empty real estates, them skyscrapers. They're all empty. That could be housing right there. I don't think anybody's better than Donald Trump to do the projects that need to be done to convert those skyscrapers. Because that's going to be massive. But that's what he does. So, you know what I mean? Mark says, you're cooking with fish grease and Crisco. Many employers hesitate to hire college graduates because they're radicalized and lack independent thought. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And when the AI gets the resumes in there, they're all saying the same thing. And it's like they get hundreds, maybe even thousands of people to apply for the same job. And I really think that it needs to go back to people stop using AI to look for work jobs and to really take the time to have people look at the applications like they used to. That way you can find the best talent, not just the best person that can, catch the algorithm or some bullshit,
Bureaucracies. The Department of Education, we lost 1 million students. What's happening is young families have to make a decision.
What is the plan? This is what I'm saying. What is the plan? Sliwa was the only one to get up there and say a plan of who, what, where, when, why, and how.
When the child has to go to school, they're deciding to go to the suburbs, go to Jersey, they're not going to sacrifice their kid. So it is a terrible problem for the entire city, the shrinking public school system. I would double the gifted and talented programs, double the number of specialized high schools.
Why would you double the gifted and talented program? Because most of the kids do not even fit into that. And you have to test into the gifted and talented program. And that is a freaking scam, because people that have money get their children all this special education to pass the test. Because I went through that with my son. And when my son, before my son went to school, I had him tested. He was in the highest percentile as far as intellect. Then once he got to school and started doing those tests, he ranked lower. So I really think homeschool is the best thing for kids, in my opinion, if you can do it. Because I guarantee you, school is going to break your child. It took a lot for me to build him back up. You understand? These schools are horrible. And like he said, they're indoctrination camps.
Keep the SAT and keep mayoral control. It is wholly inconsistent to say, I think it's a top priority, but I want to give up mayoral control, but I want to be a mayor who runs grocery stores.
Listen what I'm telling you. They asked him a question he did not answer, and now he's over there worrying about what Mandami said. They asked you what you're going to do. What is your plan? How you going to do it? Of these three men, Sliwa is the only one when he's asked the question to freaking answer it and say how it can be done.
Get the grocery stores. Run the Department of Education. It was the most single instrumental reform. Mayor Bloomberg was right.
He's talking about old
the mayor in
shit.
Boston
Mayor
and Chicago.
Bloomberg, how long has
Don't
it been
give up
since he's been
mayoral
in office?
control.
Would you defy the law, the class size law?
The problem with the class size law, it's a nice idea. The state didn't send the money. The state has not been doing its fair share for the city. If you have a nice idea, that's nice. Send the money.
And just a fact check, I don't think we lost 1 million students. We have just about under 1 million students in the DOE system, but just a quick show of hands.
I'm sorry.
The city has money too. It's wasted and squandered and spent on bullshit. I feel like every branch needs a Doge to cut all the waste because there's millions of dollars that are freaking wasted. Look at all the money that they wasted on freaking illegals. Billions. That's just the money they wasted on illegals. Give me a break. Mark says, I tried to explain to a college graduate that DEI can't compete with AI. She couldn't understand my logic, and she ended up quitting the conversation in anger, calling me misogynistic and narcissistic. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mark, because anytime you talk to a liberal person and you make sense and they don't have any leg to stand on in a debate or argument, then they get angry and they lash out. They're very emotional people, and that's their base. It's like they target and try to find those emotional people because they're not thinking. They don't have free thought to think, and they don't have discernment. So that way they can control them and make them, get on board for any dumb idea that they have. You understand? I know exactly what you're talking about. I talk to them every day. I'm telling you, on my Facebook page, Facebook is such a liberal site. Over COVID, they attacked me like crazy on Facebook. Now they stop attacking me over COVID because I was right and they see all the problems wrong with the shots and all that. So they don't talk about that no more. Now they attacking me over President Trump. And it's getting quiet over that now because he's doing a good job. And all of the policies that he said he was going to do, he executing them and he's making money and they've already generated more revenue in 9 months than the whole Biden administration did in years. You understand? And it might even be over a few terms that they're going to generate more money. So, mainstream media doesn't report all the things they do, but you could go on whitehouse.gov and see all of the work they've done. I even was shocked at the fact of all this. There was 80-something pages on just work they did on the economy and deals they made with the economy. That's not even talking about tech and different other things on there. You go on there, whitehouse.gov, and look at all of that. I was impressed with it.
Yes.
And just to show of hands, no talking, who is in favor of the cell phone ban in schools? Raise your hands. Everyone has raised their hands.
Well, y'all can watch this on your own time. This is getting really long now. Of course, I was on here longer than I'm supposed to. I'm going to come back on tomorrow because I have a bunch more videos to show y'all because I wanted to show you all these videos on Mandami with the Takia practices, and I just wanted you to see all these videos of other Muslims and ex-Muslims talking about what he's trying to do and different things. Thank you so much, Mark Kendall, for watching. I appreciate you. This means I love you in sign language. Thank you. And I want to come back and show these videos because I still have like 6 little videos to show y'all. So I'm going to come back on tomorrow afternoon and do them just so I can have it out there because people need to really see what kind of person this guy is. And, nobody likes him really. Only liberals that are kind of programmed into accepting him from, their propagandized media, because most of the people do not like him. And it looks like, I don't know. I feel like they should take Mandami out of the race, period. I just feel like, people are going to vote for Cuomo. Democrats, that's your only option. That really is your option. Mandami is not even an option. And if I had to choose, I would pick Mandami over, I would pick Cuomo over Mandami. But I really think that y'all should let Sliwa get a chance because I just feel like he's the only one that really has the policies and really has a plan. But so far, Democrats, historically speaking, throughout history, they have always been on the wrong side of history in every way, in every issue. So I don't think this is going to be any different. And they're going to be just like Chicago. They're going to vote for this person and they're going to see it's a hot ass mess. And then they're going to be complaining and upset and bitching when, you know, they've realized the reality of what they've done to themselves. So how sorry can you feel for people in Chicago? They voted for him. Black people voted for him. And look what he did. He destroyed them worse than anybody. Now they're mad. But you voted for him. So how sorry can we all feel for you? I don't know. But, you know, sometimes, you know, a hard head makes a soft ass. Like they had to go through that in order to really realize that these people are not for you. They're not. For as much as Black people kept the Democratic Party in power for all these decades, they throw you under the bus every single time and y'all still vote for them. I don't get it. So I'm going to get off of here now because this was a long one. As always, I think I will come on here and talk for 30 minutes and it'll be over an hour because there's just always so much stuff to unpack when it comes to political things, because I just feel like a lot of people do not understand and they're not using their brain and they're not thinking about, what do I really want for my life? What do I really want for my kids? How do I see the future for my child and for his children? And how is the way these people are moving, is that going to achieve that? Oh, they're telling me they have this policy and this plan, but they never tell me how it's going to work, how they're going to pay for it, and what is the projection of, you know, how it's going to all manifest in it. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And then people question me why I don't want to align with liberals, because they are bugging. They're bugging. I love you. I really do. Even if you're liberals, I have empathy for you. I don't like a lot of you. But love is the greatest power in the universe, so I just choose to walk with that. This means I love you in sign language, and I really do, especially for all the people that sat with me, Stanley and Mark and anybody else that came in the comments tonight. I really appreciate you being with me, and anybody that supports this channel, I appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated if you would do this. I just come on here to just try to help people elevate their frequency. I try to share information that I know, especially my people. A lot of people don't see it and they don't hear about things, and I just try to, you know, elevate y'all, show you a different side of thinking. You know, I just feel like a lot of the times, especially people that watch, you know, mainstream media news, you're propagandized. You understand? And I don't see why is it so hard just to hear another side of an argument? And don't just hear it, research it, study what they're saying, see what it really is, you know what I'm saying? See what the teaching really is, and then make a decision. Don't believe what I'm saying. You know, I studied a lot of religions. I read the Quran too, and you know, I have a lot of friends and family that's Muslims, and we talk a lot and stuff. I have a bit of an understanding. I love what Buddha said. Buddha said, don't trust me. Shit, I don't know. I'm on the same journey as you. You know, figure it out for yourself. Figure it out. Don't trust me. You know, do the research. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of basically, in more words than one, what Buddha taught his people. I'm on a journey of self-discovery right with you. You know what I mean? Don't trust what I'm saying. Shit. Go out there and try and figure it out. You know, I love for people to prove me wrong. I've had people come with me with facts and receipts and change my mind in a big way, life-changing. So I love y'all. I'm going to go. I'm going to come back tomorrow because I got to show you these videos from tomorrow because, you know, there's even ex-Muslims that back Israel. And a lot of people are saying we're going to thank Israel one day for saving us from, you know, Sharia law and all this and that. I don't know what to think about that. It's a double-edged sword. You know, I don't really follow nobody that feels like they're the chosen one over me. I just can't accept that. You understand? So, you know, but everybody can live and think how they want to think. That's just how I roll. You know what I mean? But I want to show y'all these videos of, you know, Muslims against Mandami and, you know, just different opinions and different people talking about this because it's a big deal. And you got New York City. I love New York City. That's why I'm on here. You know, I love New York City. It was my home for 30 years. I lived in New York City longer than I lived in my home state. And I don't want to see it fall. I want to see New York be better. I loved how it was when I first came, and I just want to see it get back to that. You know what I mean? Or just become something new and great, not collapse completely and turn into The Purge or Escape from LA. All right, so I'm going to go. I love you guys. Have a great evening. I am Shelly B. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel now. Come on now. All right, good night. See you tomorrow.